It's fun. It's wild. It's Dad's Gone Crypto. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dad's Gone Crypto. So, one of the reasons we started Dad's Gone Crypto is to help bring new people into crypto and teach them kind of the main important rules. And we've gone through a whole lot of those things over the last year here, or nearly a year that we've been recording our shows. But I keep getting lots and lots of requests from people asking how, what's an easy trading strategy? And I normally don't like to talk about trading. I don't like to talk about trading on the show very much, just because I don't like people, getting wrecked. I don't want our listeners to go out there and try some tactic and lose money. But I do get a lot of people asking about it. So I figured today I would break down a couple of very simple strategies that work really well in the bull market for when you're just getting started. You don't have trading experience. You're just looking to, get in there and maybe stack some sats, right? And so I figured, hey, why not? Let's break it down a little bit, give a very simple strategy for maybe some swing trading as we're going in the bull run here, and then maybe a little bit of a day trading, how if you want to sit in front of your computer during a day and just do some trading, I'll give you a real simple strategy for that too. But before we do that, I would like to go over and give a little update. Last week, I gave you a little review of a token called USA token that launched on the 30th. And if you guys got in on that launch, and that was for DEDPRZ is the name of the casino, USA token being their token that just launched. And if you got in on that launch, I think you'd be real happy. So I'm going to share my screen. We go over here and take a peek, and you can see that we are making new all-time highs today, just a day after launch, actually. So we had a great launch yesterday. It went, you could see this little peak right here, this wick up. So even, I know there were people complaining that they, it wicked up, they bought way up here and then it dropped. And everybody was saying, listen, guys, just relax. This is a long-term play. This isn't, like a shit coin. So just give it some time. And I'll tell you what, look, it only took a day and we're already finding new all-time highs. And so even if you bought at the very, very peak of that wick right there, you're in profit today. So hopefully none of you guys panic sold when it dropped a little bit. I mean, that's to be expected on any launch, that you're going to have a wick up, you're going to have people taking profits. But if you take a look there, we have exceeded the absolute highest wick on launch day. So I think that's fantastic, and I think this thing has some room to grow. So definitely check them out over at DEDPRZ. That's DEDPRZ.com. Now, moving on, let us take a look. So one thing that we talked about before on this show is the money flow of Bitcoin. And this is kind of where I want to go back and give a very simple strategy for people, because again, people keep asking, and we're going into the bull run. So if you look at this money flow chart, which many of you, if you've been in crypto at all, you've seen this plenty of times, but new people coming in, this is kind of the basic understanding. This chart basically lays out a bull run, start to finish. But the fact of the matter is, throughout the bull run, there's a bunch of small little runs that do the same kind of thing. And I think we're coming into one of those right now. And what happens here is that money flows into Bitcoin. And so we've seen Bitcoin go from its low of around 15,000 or so. And, today it's trading all the way up above 38,000. So that money is flowing into Bitcoin. Bitcoin's doubled already. What's most likely going to happen here very soon, in my opinion, is that we're going to start seeing some of that money flow into ETH. So, you've got Bitcoin taking all the money. ETH is not performing as well as Bitcoin. And then eventually coming into this phase 2 here, ETH kind of starts running a little, starts outperforming Bitcoin a bit. And you can see the chart kind of turning a little bit. I don't think we're at the point where people are going to start talking about the flippening yet. That's more later down in the cycle, on the cycle as a whole. But again, this is kind of like just a little mini cycle that we're seeing right here. So I think as we start seeing some of this money flow into Ethereum, that then we're going to start seeing some of these large caps get ready to move. So some of these majors out there. So if you look at like the top, 10, top 20 coins out there on Coin Market Cap, for instance, those I think are the ones that we're going to see starting to make some good moves here shortly. So if you're brand new to crypto, you're just looking to get in. Let's say you haven't even bought Bitcoin yet, which I think, Bitcoin is the first one to buy. But let's say you haven't even bought any Bitcoin yet. Well, at this point, some of these large caps is probably where, the best place to be putting a little bit of money right now. And again, this isn't financial advice in any way. This is just a general idea of when you're coming into the market, what to expect right now today. A month from now, this could be totally different. But as of where we're at right now in this little mini cycle at the beginning of the main bull run, I would say that, Bitcoin is probably getting a little top heavy. Maybe we'll get up, maybe we'll see 40, 42 or so before Bitcoin really starts to consolidate. And then some of that money starts moving into Ethereum. And then we'll start seeing these large caps start having a pretty nice run. So, personally, I'm deploying new capital. I have them all in my Bitcoin, but I'm starting to deploy new capital into some of the large caps because I'd like to see those run. So a very easy strategy here, if you're just coming in, a long-term type strategy, is to look for these mini runs. Look for when Bitcoin, lots of money goes into Bitcoin. Bitcoin starts consolidating, right? Bitcoin gets to a point. Bitcoin dominance reaches a new high, and that's kind of where we're at right now. Where Bitcoin dominance, as far as a local high goes, made a high a few weeks ago, and we look like we're getting up to test that again. So that's kind of where I feel like when Bitcoin gets over that, when Bitcoin dominance breaks, the high from just a few weeks ago here, maybe starts getting into that 55% area or so, and we see Bitcoin really slow down and just start consolidating, that's when I think money's going to start flowing more into Ethereum and then trickle into the majors, the major large caps. So right now is not a bad time probably to start deploying into some of those large caps. Now for this strategy, what you want to do is let those large, whatever you put into those large caps, let it grow. We could see a lot of these large caps, we could see probably double from where they are right now. Everything's really, really far down. So if for a very safe kind of strategy, let those go in, let the money come in, let that, go up, let it go up 100%, 150% maybe. And then take those profits and push them down the list into some of the mid caps maybe, because that'll probably be the next thing that moves. So as you start making profits in the large caps, take some of those profits, deploy them into the mid caps. Then those mid caps should have a larger run than the large caps. And that's the kind of thing, this money flow chart is showing it as a whole. But again, we're going to see these kind of flows throughout the bull market. So, my opinion, if you're looking to get in now, probably those large caps are the place to go to. And then, when you get some profits in those, start moving them down into some of these others, some of these mid caps and maybe even low caps they're higher risk. But again, if you're just playing with profits, then, you can probably afford to put those profits into some higher risk stuff that has a greater potential for the big X's. So that's kind of a general overview of a strategy to come in. If you don't have money in Bitcoin yet, if you do, when Bitcoin starts consolidating, maybe it's time to take some of that Bitcoin and put it into either ETH or some of the large caps. Once those large caps really move and they, double or triple in value, take those profits, move them down into those mid caps, take those profits from those mid caps, then move them down into the small caps if you're into that kind of thing. And that, in my opinion, is a good strategy to really have the chance to, quadruple, maybe even more, maybe 10x your money here in a short in a fairly short period of time, not throughout the whole bull run, just through this, next cycle or two small little cycles within the major bull run. Basically, that's kind of a longer term strategy here. Now, if you want to talk about short term strategy, let me go to another chart here. Now, a very simple day trading strategy. I get questions about this all the time. People are always asking, well, how do you day trade? I mean, so there's probably as many day trading strategies as there are day traders, because it's a very personal kind of thing. And if you're a professional day trader, this is absolutely nothing, I'm sure, what you're doing. But somebody just starting out that just got a subscription to TradingView, just trying to learn the ropes a little bit. This is an extremely simple strategy that I started out with a long time ago, and it served me well, trying to learn and using a strategy like this. It's real straightforward. It's real easy to kind of get your feet wet and learn. And the nice thing is with a strategy like this, the idea is obviously don't put in more money than you can afford to lose, because you never know. Anything can happen. It's crypto. But at the same time, because we're in the beginning stages of a bull run here, if you're going to trade an asset that you really believe in, and the chart I brought up is Bitcoin, because basically, as far as crypto goes, I think Bitcoin is the safest asset. It's the best store of value out there right now. So if we look at a chart like Bitcoin's and we think about putting some money in, right? So let's say you have, let's say you have 10 grand that you're bringing into the market, right? And let's say you buy $10,000 worth of Bitcoin and you just want to let it sit there and grow. Well, if you want to try to increase that along the way, and you have some time to sit in front of a computer and you want to day trade a little bit, this is a good strategy to do that, where you're not really risking in this day trading because you're spot trading. And if you believe in Bitcoin anyway, then, even if you make a mistake here or there, you don't have to take a stop loss. You can just let it sit and wait for Bitcoin to continue to go up. Right. So that's what kind of the beauty of this strategy. And that is, again, very simple. It's just looking at EMA crosses. So basically what I use in this, and this is a 5-minute chart. So if you're day trading, probably very simply looking at a 5-minute chart. And so that means that each one of these candles takes place in a 5-minute period. And the strategy that I like to use here, let me just turn off this extra guy here and I will explain that in a little while. But so this very simple strategy is basically, I like to use the 13 EMA and the 34 EMA and look for crosses, at least on the 5-minute time scale like that. So basically, you'd open up your TradingView, go over to indicators, type in SMA, we would use EMA. So exponential moving average. Click on moving average exponential. You can add that to your chart, which I just did here now. Click on settings and set one of these up for, change your style. So the blue line for, whichever one you want, or whatever color you want to do. Your inputs, you would change this to whatever you want. So again, I'm using the 13 and the 34. So you would set one of these up for the 13 candles, set one of them up for 34 candles, hit OK. And you can see now we have another one there. So I already have them on, so I'm going to remove that. But just to give you an idea. So I set up my 13 as a yellow line. I set up my 34 as a blue line. And this extremely simple strategy is, when the 13 crosses over the 34, you buy. So basically, if you can see right here, buy Bitcoin right at this point where the 13 crosses the 34, and we get this nice run up, right? So now again, if you're day trading, you're looking for profits, right? So if you hit your profit, let me just give you an example here. So let's say we bought right where that crossed, and let's just say we sold right in here, right? So basically, again, there's different ways to do this strategy, but let's say you were looking for, what you were looking for was a 1% profit, right? So you bought there, and when you hit that 1% profit, you sold, and you had that opportunity to do that anywhere in here. Now, one strategy, if once you get in here and you get on an exchange, if you're doing this on a centralized exchange, it's pretty easy to set stop orders. So one thing you could do when you hit your 1% profit, put in a stop loss order right there, right? And then you can let it go. So let's say you get your 1% profit, you put in your stop loss, and then you just let it go. So you got all the way up here, which, you got up to 1.5% profit, let's say. And now you could either move your stop loss up, or if you're not going to be in front of your computer, you just want to let it sit. What happens is when it came back down, you got your 1% profit. Okay. So again, very simple strategy. You're looking for small profits. Now, another way you can do this is let's just bring this out a little bit. Now, another way you can do this, if you want to be in it for the longer haul rather than just quick little profits, you could always look for, let's say, okay, so here's our buy, right? Because we crossed over, and now just hold on to it and don't sell again until you cross back down. That's another way to run this strategy. And if you did that here, you are looking at, you bought, and if you sold when it crossed back down, you made, what is that, 2.25% profit there. So again, many ways to do this, and it's very simple. And the nice thing about it is you're not really risking, right? Because if you're buying your Bitcoin, you're holding Bitcoin anyway. Well, let's say Bitcoin were to drop, right? Let's go back out here and let's find a place. Let's see if we can find a place where the 13 crossed the 34 and you didn't make any money at all. So like right here, here's one. It crossed, and you still made some money if you wanted to take your profit, but basically it went up, it bounced around, it came back down right here, right? So you don't need, if you're not in profit, you bought, okay, you're not in profit. Well, you still believe in Bitcoin long term, right? So even if Bitcoin were to drop, like say way down here, well, there's no reason to sell. Why are you going to sell your Bitcoin? You're still believing in Bitcoin. So now you're just waiting for it to go back up. So the idea there, like I had said, let's say you put 10 grand in. Don't use your whole stack for this type of trading, because then you're going to be waiting for for that money. So like, let's say you put your whole stack in and Bitcoin does drop. Well, now you don't have anything to trade with until Bitcoin goes back up. So probably a better idea, let's say you put 10 in, maybe play with 1,000, right? So now you're betting $1,000 that Bitcoin's going to go up when this cross happens, right? Well, if it doesn't, it goes back down. You're still waiting. You haven't even done anything with that yet. You bought, but we get another cross over here. Okay, so now you're going to buy with another $1,000 of that. Now that 1,000 and your previous 1,000 that you had in there are riding for a long way before you sell them again, right? And make your profit. So again, very simple strategy. You can combine this with lots of different ideas. That's one thing I had open here. Let's turn that back on. Like this is a parabolic SAR. So you can search for that in your indicators as well. And basically what this is doing is it's giving you a read of support and resistance levels. And basically, so when you've got green, you've got support. When you've got red, you've got resistance. So you can kind of combine this strategy if you wanted to with something like this. So let's say you bought, let's go over, let's do a current one here. So let's say, you waited, you didn't buy until it crossed over. Well, you're in the green on your parabolic SAR, right? So you're in the green. So you go ahead, you make your buy, and you're riding up, and oh, look at that. The parabolic SAR turned red. So that might be a good indication that this is playing out and it's time to sell. So again, if you did that and you sold up here, you made a pretty nice little profit. You probably made 1% or 2% there. Again, this isn't, it's not like some kind of a get rich quick kind of thing, but if you're sitting around and you're day trading and you want to stack some sats, this is a very simple, very easy way to do it. There's obviously way more complicated day trading systems than this. And again, this is very simple, absolutely not financial advice. Don't go, betting everything on something like this. But again, very simple. It has, you're not really using stop losses here because again, you're trading in an asset that you really believe in. My opinion, this is a pretty good way to just play around and get your feet wet in trading and hopefully, stack some Bitcoin. If you learned anything, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out our Dad Sacks competition. Get over there and start playing the game because very, very soon those rewards are going to start popping up here. And there's not too many people in there yet. So I can say this is a really good time to get in there, join our campaign, and try to win yourself some Dad Sacks. Anyway, been fun, guys. Hopefully you learned something, and see you next time. Bye. The material and information presented in this recording are for entertainment purposes only. Do not misconstrue what you hear as investment or trading advice. Always do your own research. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by the guests on this recording are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of Dad's Gone Crypto or its hosts.